My Lord Workshop, we have an incredible new opportunity that I'm excited to share with you.
This had better be good, Tech Freak 80085. I canceled a meeting with Henry Cavill for this.
Oh, I think you'll agree that this is good, my lord. Very good, and very profitable. And as for Master Cavill, well, what I have for you today will soon make the work of that brainless hunk of muscle completely irrelevant.
Choose your next words carefully, 80085. The potential of Games Workshop as a film and TV franchise rests on the immaculately sculpted shoulders of that beautiful, beautiful man, whose name you dare besmirch in my presence. If not for your mention of Holy Prophet, I would have struck you down where you slouch.
1,000 pardons, my lord. It's just that the raw power of this new technology has so much to offer us. It's already changing the world as we speak. It will save us time and money, and we'll be able to produce an endless tide of glorious content. There's truly no downside.
This sounds too good to be true, Tech Freak. What is this new technology of which you speak?
It's called generative AI, sir. Real artificial intelligence, they say. Machine minds that can write their own stories, as well as craft images, audio, and video all on their own. Just feed the thing you prompt and let the machine do the work. It eliminates the need for expensive human artists, and the sheer volume of its discharge is really quite astonishing. Just look at all this wonderful new content I've generated for you this week.
That Ultramarine has 3 arms, and I can't even tell how many legs. What is this, an optical illusion? My god, it's hideous!
Oh, well, there are plenty more. Let me just scroll down and show you a few more examples.
But these Eldari have bolt weapons, and the scaling on this dreadnought is all wrong. There's a bottle of Coca-Cola on that mech boy's workbench. This hideous lighting, the vacant expressions. Everything looks familiar, but also completely wrong, and somehow it all looks exactly the same. No, no, no! Remove these blasphemies from my sight, you wretch!
I assure you, my lord, the technology will improve. We can't afford not to invest in this. This is the future.
This is slop!
And our customers are pigs. They practically clamor for slop. As time passes and the product improves, even our more discerning customers will come to the trough.
Product is hardly even half the problem, Tech Freak. This abominable pseudo-intelligence is fundamentally evil. It is a cancer that would devour us from within.
I must say, I am shocked at your outrage, sir. You're the one who's always sermonizing about doing what makes the most money. This is a money-printing machine. When has evil ever stopped you before?
Well, yeah, but I'm not this evil. I've done my research. This heretical thing you've shown me is nothing but a souped-up, schlock-spewing plagiarism machine that drinks more water and drains more power than the furious abyss.
Weird reference.
It wasn't for you. The point is that we can't make money off a population that's dead from a doomsday of incompetence. This shit melts people's brains, not to mention the fact that it steals from the artists whose life's work it must consume to survive. It's not sustainable, and frankly, it makes me feel icky. Our goal isn't just to make a lot of money right now, it's to go on making money, forever!
I must admit, James Workshop, that does make sense. How can we expect our customers to buy product that they must assemble and paint if we're too lazy to create anything ourselves?
Right? Can you imagine our fans buying boxes and boxes of our overpriced plastic and then just not assembling and painting them?
Madness. And besides, how can we expect them to read what we don't even bother to write?
Why play a game no one made?
To give up on art? What was I thinking? We would just be joining the leagues of the lost.
And the damned.
Welcome, friends, to yet another episode of the Lost and the Damned podcast, a podcast where two friends come together, one lost and one damned in the world of Warhammer, to read the Horus Heresy in its entirety. This time around, we are reading book 8? Yes, 8. By The Furious Abyss, or The Battle for the Abyss. A book by Ben Counter, also author of book 3, Galaxy in Flames, and unfortunately, this is his last book in the Horus Heresy series. And I say unfortunately because both of his books in the Heresy are very fun rides. I had fun with this one, and I'm looking forward to talking about it with my good friend, Faden the Lost. Hi, I'm Uncle the Damned, and Faden, you're here too.
I'm so here, and I'm so ready to talk about Battle for the Abyss, a book I really like. I really like this one.
I really like this one, too. I think this is maybe the most fun book to read of the series we've seen so far, at least in some respects.
Best combat yet.
Totally. And I think I said that about Galaxy in Flames, too. That was by far the best combat of the opening trilogy, and I think even out of the first 4 or 5 books, it's probably the best combat. And then again, Ben Counter bringing it with Battle for the Abyss, definitely the best combat. I would describe this largely as a dudes rule book. This is a book full of dudes that rule.
Yeah, dudes rock.
Dudes
and
rock.
Also,
yeah.
Ben Counter does something I think all the other Warhammer authors have struggled in, or at least I don't like their perspective as much as I like for Ben Counters. I think Ben Counters gets the aesthetics of the Warhammer universe and its grimdarkness better than any of them.
Yes, especially towards the end of this book. It gets really grim and dark. Well, and
nobody's ever mentioned the Ratings, as much as Ben Counters does. The Ratings? What's the
ratings?
Ratings.
Yes. Yeah, the menials of ship-to-ship combat.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I think so far the pattern for us has been we really like the books that have strong emphasis on non-Astartes characters, mortals, as they're often referred to.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is definitely an Astartes forward book, but the moments with non-Astartes are particularly strong. And frankly, I still think the Astartes in this book are very human. They're very fallible. I think spoiler alert, I think the fact that every single character in this book is disposable allows Ben to do things that the other authors haven't been able to do, knowing that their characters are going to have to stick around for at least a few more books, probably the whole series. This guy's nah, I've got a single self-contained narrative and I get to dispose of everyone if I want to, and it works. There are real stakes in this book, or it feels like the stakes are real, even though the scale of the other books is in many ways much larger. This one feels right. I don't know,
well,
but I love what you're saying about the grimdark, though.
It focuses on one conflict, right? It focuses on one issue, the Furious Abyss. We need to stop this ship, and that's the entire book.
Yes, it reads, and I think I said this about Galaxy in Flames as well. It reads like an action flick. It reads like this of all the books we've read so far would translate best into a screenplay. It's tightly paced, it's tightly contained, it's focused.
It jumps around scenes a lot. It does the paragraph breaks where we go to different characters in the same chapter. That was a thing I was kind of iffy on for Galaxy in Flames, but it works really well here. I think it works the best here.
It was choppier in Galaxy in Flames. It's very intentional in this one. We see close parallels in the scenes that follow one another. So you'll get a scene in even if it's just an aesthetic parallel, you'll see a scene in a great greeting hallway or something like that, and then the next scene is with the bad guys in a chapel, and then you'll get a scene where we really should try and get along, and then the next scene is the bad guys. We must sabotage one another. It's our greatest strength, and it's
right.
I think Ben Counter, he keeps the characters simple. The bad guys are just bad. And it works. This is Warhammer at its best, I think, where it understands what works best in this universe. It's the grim, it's the dark, it's everybody dying. It's fun action scenes that are punchy and kind of meaningful with occasional killer one-liners. This is a really fun read, and I'm excited to get into it with you.
Yeah, should we get into my one-sentence summary, and then we can do the whole summary? Cestus, is that right?
Yes.
Oh my god, I got it. Cestus leads a fleet on a suicide mission to, I wrote deflate, I meant to write defeat, to defeat the word-bearer ship, the Furious Abyss. That's this book.
Before it destroys his home planet.
Yeah.
Is the only addition I would throw on there. But yeah, that's great. It's one conflict, and I think it's like 3 or 4 battles. But it's a pretty tight timeline with a nice, easy to understand and get to know cast of characters, not too extensive a list of people to know. They are very, very quickly and efficiently characterized.
Oh yeah.
and they don't really change much, but they don't need to. It's not that kind of story.
No. I mean they do. I see, here's the thing. I do think they do change in some ways that I find interesting. I actually think it's there is some good, not like the characters themselves change, but the relationship dynamics change in a way that I find a lot of fun. I think that's where the actual change comes from, is how these characters relate to one another, how they relate to one another in regards to the whole like wide Imperium and their actions that they take, because especially a lot's going on with Cestus, Motep, and Brind'Agar.
Brind'Agar, yeah. I think this has the most... You make a really good point here. This has the most interesting, in my opinion, relationships between characters that we've seen yet.
Yeah.
The friendships feel like real friendships, and when there's tension in those friendships and eventually breakups, they mean something. It hurts. There's a theme in this book is supreme sacrifice is often necessary to defeat supreme evil. And we see sacrifices not just in terms of pain and suffering and death, but also in terms of relationships. Yeah. And it's meaningful. It feels real. It works. So I think you're right. You're right. We don't see the characters change their identities much or their personalities, but the way they relate to each other absolutely does change.
Now, so I have this book is the first book we have that doesn't do parts.
Yeah, and I'm glad it doesn't. I don't think it needs them, really.
I don't think it needs them either. So the following summary is a summary of the entire book.
Sure. We could probably make that work, yeah.
Yeah, so bear with me on this, because this is also a Stuff's Happening book.
It is, but it's so fun you don't mind.
Yeah, don't mind. I totally agree. Okay. Zadkiel is in command of the Furious Abyss, a ship made in secret by the Mechanicum for the Word-Bearers. The Furious Abyss is also the largest ship ever made. Basically.
Yeah. It is, yes. Yeah. It's a big old boat. Bigger than the biggest battleships. It's a super-duper battleship.
It's like a super, like, destructive battleship. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It's super destroyer. It would be the death of a star.
Right,
Yeah.
It could be the death of the star. After a sermon, they leave and destroy the moon fuel, so no evidence is left. They come across an Ultramarine ship, the Fist of... Okay, is it Macarage?
Nope.
The carriage?
It is McCrag.
Oh, okay.
Yes. my crack. It's McCrag.
McCrag, got it. They come across the Ultramarine ship, the Fist of McCrag, which they promptly destroy. The Fist of McCrag sends a warning to a space station called Evangelis. The psychic energy of the message is so intense that the station goes into a reactor meltdown. Ultramarine Cestus, his second in command, Antigues, I should know this one, and Space Wolf Brind'Agar save the station. Cestus sees a vision of the Ultramarine planet, McCrag. Oh,
the Warhammer fans are gonna love that pronunciation. That's fun.
Cestus sees a vision of the Ultramarine planet McCrag burning. This freaks
Yeah.
out Cestus so much that he gathers the Space Wolves, some World Enders led by Skrull, and the
World Eaters.
World Eaters. Oh, man, why do I always
It's
want to call
okay.
them World Enders? That's
Who
funny.
knows? It's close.
Who knows? Some Word Eaters. My God, Word Eaters.
The Word Eaters and the World Bearers. Yeah.
Right. Some World Eaters led by
There you
Skrull and the Thousand Sons Motep. Is it really Motep?
It sure is.
We got to talk about that. To investigate
Okay.
the destruction of the fist of
You can do it.
Macrage.
Macrag.
Macrag.
What? Macrag. My crack. My crack. Macrag.
Macrag.
Yeah.
McCraig.
Macrag.
Macrag. Macrag.
Oh my goodness.
Cestus takes over command of a fleet from Saturn led by Admiral Kaminska and her ship, the Wrathful. They follow a psychic trail of oh my God, I can't do this today. They follow a psychic trail of destruction and discover the Furious Abyss. A battle rages where most of the fleet is destroyed. Motep barely escapes in the survivor pod. Fighter squadrons are destroyed by a psychic attack that makes the crew members kill everyone on board. The Furious Abyss leaves into the warp, and Cestus gives chase. The other surviving ship, the Fireblade, docks with the Wrathful, and surprise, it is actually full of demons and attacks the Wrathful. Motep uses psychic powers to drive demons' backs, much to the anger of Bringar. Cestus is now between a rock and a hard place with Bringard and Motep. Actually, let's stop there, and then we can get into the rest of the summary after we talk about all that, because that seems like
I think that's a good idea. This is a good chunk. Yeah.
this is a good chunk.
So,
I love
do-
the Furious Abyss.
Yeah, it's a cool ship. It's described as like a city unto itself, which all ships in Warhammer are like the size of a city. Some small, some big, but this is like a metropolis size ship. It is often compared to a cathedral. The opening description with Zadkiel as he is a god sitting on the throne of God.
I love
overseeing-
Zadkiel.
Oh yeah, overseeing his own personal heaven. He is just like the classic mustache twirling evil bad guy. I think what I love about the Word Bearers is that they're like Sith Lords, you know, like where they're always scheming against one another. Zadkiel never stops thinking about how little he trusts literally anyone.
But especially Ultis, the ambitious supplicant.
Yes, the super ambitious supplicant. I like his crew. I like the dynamic between them. Just classic bad guys. Very fun. I love the opening sequence of describing this big scary spaceship and then it blowing up its own founding dock or wherever it was built.
Its own like shipyard.
Yeah.
Moon.
Well, it's like a meteor that was dragged into orbit that's become a moon and they've destroyed it. It's great, covering their tracks. I also really like it's the kind of the false start you get with Captain Hector, the Ultramarines captain who first encounters the Furious Abyss.
Yeah.
Because we like get to know this guy for a few minutes. He's like training, and then he's meeting with his guys, and then all of a sudden they're just gone. They get instantly blown up by this giant super ship.
I gotta say, I don't like any solo training scene. Like, anytime a character is training by themselves with, like, a servitor, I'm just sleeping. I'm snoring. I only want them training with their boys, or else what's the point?
Yeah, solo training is kind of boring. It might give you, like, a moment of characterization, but usually it's just used to describe, like, this is this guy, and he's doing this right now.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that it's usually a better moment when we see dudes with each other. Like when we see the World Eaters training and they're not wearing any clothes except their breeches and boots, and they're using live chain weapons against each other.
Cutting into each other.
Yeah, awesome. That's a cool scene. The the wrestling match that comes early on between Bringar and I think it's Cestus, right?
Yeah, Cestus.
Yeah.
You shouldn't ask me if you're pronouncing a character's name right.
Well,
I
was trying to remember it was him or Antigues. I know how it's pronounced.
Okay.
I couldn't remember which one squares up, but it's because Cestus and Bringar are good old friends.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a fun little scene. The duel between Bringar and Cestus later on. We'll get there. That's a good one. So yeah, I think that fight a dude. Don't fight a lobotomized person who has robot arms.
Yeah, not
as
fun.
interesting. Yeah.
Also want to shout out the coolest figurehead of any ship possible.
Yeah.
A book wreathed in flames, wrought from gold and silver. Hell yeah.
Book.
A burning book.
Yeah, which is the symbol of the word bearers before the heresy is a burning book, the word of the emperor. And then once the heresy starts, they just put a demon's skull in front of the flames.
I just gotta say, if I was the emperor, I'd be like, hey, can we do an audit on the flaming book, guys? I don't trust their asses.
So there is an audit on the flaming book, guys,
that's true,
and that is why, by the way, they are specifically targeting Macragge, because as we'll learn in more detail in a later book, it was the Emperor used the Ultramarines to censure the word bearers.
Yeah, I know Logar was censured. That's a thing we know.
Yes.
I would go a little bit further than censoring this guy. Like, Jesus Christ.
Well,
that's more my point.
I mean, it is a pretty severe censure. I don't want to spoil it for you, but when we read, oh my God, why am I forgetting it right now?
Betrayal or Betrayer?
Betrayer, yeah. When we read Betrayer, it is pretty damn, that is pretty hardcore what the Emperor chooses to do when he finds out his son is worshiping him.
Not hardcore enough, in my opinion. Not hardcore enough. He should be killed.
Yeah,
we will
see.
This man and all of his followers should be murked.
We'll get there, but yeah, this is the word bearers are definitely fucked.
Another cool thing. Oh, sorry, you go.
No. I was just gonna say I love their big scary book masthead that unfolds into a gun.
Yeah, unfolds into a huge ass lance.
Yeah, it's great. What were you gonna say?
I also on the ship, I like this description of the engines. Like chrome hexagons, the engine vents were so vast and terrible that to stare into their dormant heaters was to engulf all sense and reason into a fathomless, darkened void.
Yeah.
I love it.
Great tone setting.
I love it when a thing's so big it drives you to madness.
Yeah, last time we had a spaceship, a flying saucer so big it drives you crazy. This time, just the engines of this ship are so big they'll drive you crazy. It's wonderful. And then, boy, there are lots of other things that can drive you crazy, too, that we learn about. That warp sure is dangerous, and psychers really are quite dangerous. That's something that's thoroughly established in this book. I think we definitely see the power and potential of psychers and the warp in the other books, but it is really laid out clearly just how volatile and deadly using any psychic power can be. Especially when, right off the bat, just the psychic backlash of a really intense warning message is enough to blow up a reactor or threaten a reactor to blow up. That, logically, that was kind of weird to me. The message is so strong that it overloads their plasma What? That doesn't make any sense. But considering it's all psychic, shenanigans, this is space magic. Okay, yeah, I can excuse that. And it does establish, again, right away how dangerous psychic power is.
We know that the word bearers have essentially sent a thing to kind of fuck with them more on the psychic side.
Oh, yes. With Soric.
Yeah.
The demon that will later possess a whole boat. Or a whole crew, basically.
Right.
And there's a separate demon that takes over one of the escort ships, the Fireblade.
A lot of demons.
And a lot of demons in this one. A lot of warp activity. And one Astartes who is very clear about how much he hates all that shit. Bringar.
Oh yeah. My first Space Wolf book, like a Space Wolf in a book.
Really, yeah. Bringar is great character, classic Space Wolf. He is a Wolf Guard, which means he is an elite Space Wolf, basically a veteran Space Wolf. It's implied that he is one of the early Space Wolves recruited to the Legion from Fenris, their home planet. There's something interesting about the Space Wolves in that their gene seed can be implanted successfully in adults sometimes.
Oh.
Yeah. And so a lot of Lehman Russ's like followers who were full-blooded adults when he was found by the Emperor actually got to join him as full Astartes because something about Space Wolf gene seed works on Fenrisians in particular because, well, we'll get to that later, but Fenrisians are special as human beings.
Because they're Vikings, and Vikings are cool.
Well, yeah, but there's more to it than that. But but yeah, Bringar is a super duper veteran, gray bearded Astartes who is in charge of a pack of blood claws, and blood claws are like the freshly inducted members of the Space Wolf Legion, often led by a singular veteran. And so he's got all these ruffians under his command. We don't get much from them, but they're very loyal to him, and they're just classic Viking warriors in space.
Yeah, they're his bros. Oh, he's always rolling up with a crew.
Yeah, and he's another fun feature of the Space Wolves we see is that they get drunk. Space Marines have super liver, like literally they have a special liver and extra kidneys and stuff, and they can't be poisoned or blah blah blah. Space Wolves specifically craft a brew. In this early book, it's called Wolf's Mead, but in most of the rest of Warhammer, it's referred to as Mjold, M-J-O-L-D. And Mjold it's basically like jet fuel, and alcohol and a few other things mixed in, and it's specifically designed to actually be able to intoxicate an Astartes. Absolute death to any non-Astartes who tries to drink it. And the first time we meet Bringar, he's wasted. And he is scared away, the one and only remembrancer we see in this book. And that's how Cestus and Antiges are drawn to him. As they're because what's interesting is the opening of this book, the Loyalists are all separate groups. They're just stationed on this space station, Vangelis, by random coincidence, basically. So we got the World Eaters, some Space Wolves, a small handful of Ultramarines, and they're kind of just chilling, waiting for other ships to come pick them up. And Cestus and Antiges are about to leave when they run into this remembrancer who is like, I just wanted to record a saga. I just wanted to interview this guy, and he's a savage. Runs away crying, and Cestus has a little friendly brawl with the drunken Bringar, and then it's quickly revealed, these guys are best friends. They've saved each other's lives many times throughout the Crusades, and Bringar's stoked that he gets to say goodbye to his friend. At least I get to escort you out of here, bud. And on their way to the docks, they get the message, oh my gosh, something as crazy has happened. And they don't even get a clear message. There was only enough time for impressions to be shared via the astropaths. Some of the only psychic people allowed to exist at this point in the Imperium, because they're the only way you can communicate vast distances across the galaxy is through psychic messages shot out of their heads, and they're eventually slowly interpreted because the messages they send are all impressions and feelings and smells and images. These are barely sent out in time, so they're very difficult to translate. And before they're even fully translated, Cestus gathers all the Astartes on the station, says, hey, can we please go check this out? Will you guys help us, please? Which reveals, I think, the true superpower of the Ultramarines. Every legion gets its own special abilities and skills and specialties. Ultramarines know how to make a deal. They know how to compromise. They it's said that, oh, they're the master tacticians, but really what we see is they know how to make other legions work together.
Yeah.
And they know how to say they're sorry. They can apologize. And so they're reasonable is what's special about the Ultramarines. And they managed to get these guys all together to go take a look, see what's this crazy message we just got. What's going on?
I truly thought when, based on everything I heard about Ultramarines, who they are, a lot of people say they're the most boring ones. I really thought I would not enjoy the Ultramarines in this at all. Boy, was I pleasantly surprised on how much I truly actually enjoyed Ultramarine shit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Faden. I think I've mentioned before. This is actually the first time I've read this book. I have never encountered Battle for the Abyss before. I never listened to the audiobook before. I've never read it before. So this is the first of the series that I have never touched once before this. And I also really enjoyed it. I've not enjoyed a lot of the other Ultramarine scenes and moments I've read, which admittedly are not that many. Most of the books I have read from this series are not Ultramarines books. So most of what I know from them is also just via reputation, and it's a boring reputation, but they're interesting. Like they're very human, which, as we've mentioned before, tends to make more interesting characters. And I don't know. I liked all the Ultramarines in this book for the most part. We only really spend much time with two of them.
Yeah,
but they're good characters.
So I just was curious.
Yeah.
So I started Googling Battle for the Abyss, and then the next thing, autofill's like, worth it? And I'm not going to name names. I found this post where someone's like, all you need to know about this book. Once the word bearers had a big ship called the Furious Abyss. Now they don't. The end. Or it's a filler to Caliph. Totally skippable.
Yeah,
or another one. It's way out of sync with the Horus Heresy as a whole. And it portrays a tactically inept Chaos Marine doing things that ultimately bear little fruit. And I'm just like, man, I feel like they're missing the point of this book.
Yes, and that really should not surprise us. That Warhammer fans miss the point of things.
I guess, but this one is the most dudes. I feel like this is the most like I would get why anyone likes this book.
You are ignoring the fact that the point of this series is to explain things to fans who already know what happens.
Okay.
And
I guess I am.
Remember,
you're right. Yeah, okay. I can get why somebody might be upset about this, but I don't know. Yeah. This is like
there's barely any lore in this book, is I think how most fans who read this feel. Like, I already knew the Furious Abyss got blown up. But the point is the experience. The point is the sacrifice. The point is the themes that are built, the relationships torn apart. The point is the adventure and the fun. And that's not why they're here.
Why don't they just take the Eagles to Mordor?
Facts. Yes, exactly. That is you nailed it there. Yeah. Why isn't this a one-sentence summary before the next book? That's honestly the feeling that a lot of people, I think, have. And that's probably why I never encountered this before, because it was never on a list of must-reads. It was never, promoted as, oh, this is such a good audiobook, you really got to check it out. I don't think I've ever heard word one about this book before I read it for this episode.
My coworker said this is the most, like he remembers when this book came out and that, like, he didn't like it and nobody else really liked it either.
Well, they're all wrong. This is...
Yeah.
This might be, again, like the next... every book I seem to like in some way more than the last one. And I think this one follows through with that. Like, this is another great read that in many ways I enjoyed more than the previous books. I think
really? Descent of Angels really, still is at my top.
Okay. I love Descent of Angels. I think there's really cool elements in Legion. But this was the most fun read for me.
Yeah.
Definitely the most fun read. Yeah. I get your point about Descent of Angels, though. If I had to say best book, probably that one. Most fun, most enjoyable read, definitely this one.
So space battles in this are really good.
Yeah, especially if you've played like Gothic, right?
Yeah,
like, then
that's for real. That really helped.
Easier to picture a lot of these moments, but it's well described. I think Ben Counter really gets the moment-to-moment action right.
Well, and like there's just there's this mental back and forth that's happening actually more, which I think really highlights this, where it's like Zadkiel is toying with them in a way that's clearly ill-advised, but the Ultramarine, like Cestus, is like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. I gotta figure out how to deal with this thing. This thing's fucking huge.
Yeah, the hubris of Zadkiel is
It's so much fun.
It's fun. It's so fun. It's very, again, mustache twirly, and that works. And it's I don't know. I like seeing a tragic flaw leading to the downfall of a character, and not just bad tactics or an unlucky sword swipe. Like
sometimes you just want to see evil undo itself, right? This is the appeal of Stephen King books. I think a lot of time is you watch evil lay the tracks to destroy itself.
Absolutely, it's wonderful, and so that opening battle, the surprise attack, the oh my god, I can't believe
my brother, my enemy.
Yeah, but that was a rough one, but yes, my brother, my enemy. The surprise that how could Astartes possibly betray us? I just don't understand.
But they also handle it better than Loken ever did in the opening 3 books, right? This is the other thing where they adapt way quicker than the other Space Marines have to betrayal.
Now, in Loken's defense, he has to betray his own legion. Or he has to accept the betrayal of his own legion. These guys, the Wordbearers and the Ultramarines, are diametrically opposed, like in ideology, in action, and when we read Betrayer, you'll really understand why these two factions don't get along, especially why the Wordbearers hate the Ultramarines. But it's he does react pretty well to this. I think like he kind of gets it faster than Logan, certainly. But again, I think it's partially because if any legion is going to be suspicious to an Ultramarine, it's the Wordbearers. Frankly, if any legions, so Cestus does have that moment where he's like, this is especially surprising because ostensibly the Wordbearers are the most loyal to the Emperor.
Yeah.
That is true. Like, that is the well-known thing. Like, if anybody's going to talk about how awesome the Emperor is, it's a Wordbearer. But
they talk about it too much, in fact.
Yes. But later on, we'll get some more context for that.
Of course.
Not that context is necessary for this one. I think, the surprise works. It's
and there's like a part
impactful
of it where I don't remember if this was explicitly stated in the book, but there's this vibe where it's like the Wordbearers were the Emperor's favorite, and now it's kind of the Ultramarines because they're the goodest boys.
Yes and no.
That's like the vibe. I don't think it's explicitly stated, but that's kind of how I took it, where it's like, these people's position have switched in some way.
So you're right in that the vibe is kind of like that, because the Wordbearers were the most loyal. Certainly, they were the most committed to the ideals of the Great Crusade, not counting the whole divinity thing. They rejected all gods, all spirits, all everything except the Emperor.
Yep.
Who is just being cheeky about this whole no gods thing. He just doesn't, well, of course a god's going to say, I'm not a god. That's the coolest thing a god can say.
That's what a god would say.
Yes.
A good one.
Yeah, that's exactly. He wants humans to feel inspired and that anybody can be great like him. And that's why he doesn't admit he's a god. But he's really a god. I mean, come on. And frankly, they have a point there. When we think about how powerful the Emperor is, when we think about, so returning to the scenes that open this book, the fact that astropaths have to be psychically bonded through a ceremony called the soul binding to the Emperor's will, like that, I mean, come on, man. If every single psychic telephone in the entire galaxy is directly wired to one man's psychic will, that's kind of godly. I mean, like, if
how
you
is that
can't
not
call
godly?
How is that not godly? And the fact that those are the only psychers allowed to continue doing psychic shit.
Right.
Like, come on, man. Psychers and astropaths and navigators, and they're all psychically bound in some way to the Emperor, to one man. I think we're starting to see maybe where the Wordbearers are coming from to some degree, but it sure is fun watching them be assholes. We haven't mentioned many of the other Wordbearers yet. Let's talk about the the Word Bearers crew that Zadkiel's got himself together.
Yeah, there's like two main guys, right? There's Ultis and Reskiel.
Well, Ultis, Reskiel, and then the chaplain as well. And and we've also got what's his name? Something.
Yes, Belanos.
Bellanos, yes.
Bellanos.
So Bellanos is technically second in command, actually.
Yes.
He's
captain.
the assault. Yeah, same basic rank. But he is not like a full chapter master like Zadkiel is. So Zadkiel's in charge of like the whole chapter that is under his command, and the direct force commander, the assault captain, is Bellanos, described as a very simple man, a brutal man, Zadkiel's own personal terror weapon. Loyal to a fault, not very creative, and Zadkiel loves that. He's like, that's perfect. I don't want you thinking. Just do things.
Yeah, I just need you to be my like guard dog. You just need to go where I command and never bite my hand.
Yes. Ultis is the overambitious guy you mentioned, who's ready. He's chomping at the bit to take some kind of command position. He's given a command position, but as a form of sabotage, because Zadkiel doesn't trust him.
Right. And also questions Zadkiel, too, during the sermons, like, hey.
Oh, yes.
Brotherhood, though. Brotherhood seems like it's pretty strong, doesn't it?
Yeah, because the sermon is, what could be more powerful than betraying your brother? It's great. And he's like, well, I mean, like, brothers are, like, good, though. Why would we want that? Wouldn't we be weaker by hurting our brothers? And Zadkiel's like, you fucking idiot. So honestly, it could be that Zadkiel's just upset that he was contradicted by this lowly peon, and not necessarily. That's kind of implied that he's not really that worried about this lowly dude's ambition. I mean, that's maybe an excuse.
Well, I actually thought of it the other way. It's like, what if Ultis doesn't really have that ambition, and Zadkiel's just reading that into Ultis, right? As like a threat.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Is like, like maybe this guy is ambitious, but that's not why Zadkiel's killing him.
Right.
Yeah. And then we've got the chaplain, which I love this. The chaplains, will get into more detail about what they are. They were a creation of the Word Bearers Legion, and they were all other legions were told to start doing the whole chaplain thing, an explicitly religious word with a very ceremonial role, to make sure that everybody's following the rules and nobody has psychers in their legions anymore. Which is just a great irony. But he is not a fan of Zadkiel, and right off the bat, he's being sarcastic in his use of the word brother to Zadkiel. They don't get along, but I do like Zadkiel's perspective. That's why he trusts this guy. He trusts the chaplain because he doesn't like him, and he's actually willing to be honest, whereas his other followers are sycophants or blind loyalists. And so we've got this interesting little balance of guys. All of them bad, all of them so stoked to be fulfilling the holy word of their Primarch.
Well, the best thing is, the chaplain, Ichthalon?
Ichthalon, yeah.
Ichthalon, that's the one who tries to betray him. That's the one who does try to do it. The only one who really does is the guy. He's like, I shouldn't worry about this one.
Yeah. At the very end, he's like, nah, I'm not going to do what you tell him. And Zadkiel's like, okay, and just kills him.
A bit about Zadkiel I really love that I think really fills in his character in such a beautiful way. Zadkiel lit a candle for the soul of Rabote Guilliman.
Nice, you got that one right, yeah.
Blind he might be,
Guilliman.
But he was a brother of sorts, and it was only right that his future deaths be commemorated. What a beautiful, like, efficient way
Thank
to, like,
you,
get
my sacrifice.
Such a good way to, like, characterize Zadkiel.
Yeah, self-righteous evil.
And it's also super Catholic. These are the evil Catholic priests. That's what I love about it.
Oh, me too. That's why when I first encountered Warhammer, the first Legion I glommed onto, other than the Blood Angels, because I mean they're cool.
And it's
other
you.
than the it's me. Other than the Blood Angels, it was the Word Bearers. I'm like, fuck yeah, these are heavily Catholic coded, bad guys, the most demonic Legion, the great betrayers, and they're the ones that most Warhammer fans just straight up hate because they're the bad guys. And that makes me love them. So great characters, lots of fun. It's great watching all these guys die.
I like that. Yeah, right. I like how all the word bearers sleep in cells like Catholic monks.
Yes.
Great touch.
Very what's it called? Stoic. Very stoic of them. Yes. Self-denial, even as they self-aggrandize. Lots of great hypocrisies in the word bearers. Nothing but fun.
Nothing but fun.
Maybe we should get our initial feelings about a couple other characters down. Skrull, the World Eater captain, love him. I love Skrull.
Surprised?
Oh yeah,
surprised by how much I really like Skrull.
He's fun. I think so. What's interesting is I don't know how much how much of the lore was fleshed out for Butcher's Nails, because I don't think that word is used in this book.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the Butcher's Nails are cortical implants, so wires smashed into the brains of World Eaters so that they increase their aggression. In this book, it's described as these guys are just fucking mad. Well, and it's because their dad is angry. Is their dad is the angry one, Angron. Right, and so they're mad.
But it's also described that like Skrull can bottle up the rage and like store it into like a deep part of himself, like he's just like putting it in like a box in his mind palace, and he can unbox that whenever he wants to get super pissed off for a battle. So they appear calm-ish for the most part, actually, and when they are angry in normal everyday situations, they just bottle that up.
Yeah, and that is classic World Eaters stuff, is that they are they're like the classic Incredible Hulk line, how do you make yourself angry or something like that? I'm always angry. They're always pissed off, but they have to fight really hard to keep it bottled and closed up, and then when it comes out,
they can't.
Yeah, sometimes they can't, and when it comes out, they're unhinged psychopaths who barely even recognize their allies. And it's pretty cool. So basically what is later described in virtually all of the other books, it's kind of weird that the Butcher's Nails aren't named here. These are like brain implants that Angron kind of forced on his Legion. And they force you to feel aggression. In fact, they rewire your brain so that you only feel pleasure and satisfaction when you're committing violence. And that is the feature of virtually all World Eaters, except for a very small number of special characters who I think only show up in short stories.
Yeah, I'm like pretty sure that's not a thing yet, because the way it's described in this book, it's almost like they have an itch they can't scratch.
Which is how the Butcher's Nails work. And I feel like the Butcher's Nails were mentioned in an earlier book. I think they weren't called. They weren't named. But
implants were shown in when he showed up. And
I'm pretty sure Karn has them too. The one of the named World Eaters, he has them too. And so they're mentioned. They're not mentioned at all in this book. But that is the thing that is giving them this rage. It's not just a feature of their gene seed. It's a forced implantation, which kind of a missed opportunity. I wish that was mentioned, because it makes their characters a lot more interesting, I think.
I don't know. I actually kind of like it if, I think it would be more interesting if this was not an implant thing or a brain chemistry train thing. Instead, if it was like a soldier training sort of thing, right? Like something that... Because this is kind of what we do to soldiers a lot of times, is teach them to disassociate their emotions and to kind of bottle them up and save them for when it needs to be used.
I think the reason why they matter is because it's what sets them apart from the other legions. Because all of the legions are trained to be brutal, murderous, genocidal, killers. these guys are the genocidal killers amongst the genocidal killers. These are the ones that give all the other legions pause. And the thing that sets them apart, I think it makes sense that there's a sci-fi thing that does it, because there's not a significant difference between most Space Marine legions otherwise.
Yeah.
But, I hear you, though. Maybe it would be more meaningful if it was a feature of their training. But to some extent, the implants are a feature of their training.
Yeah, I always I do always find it interesting when, they have the Space Marines. It's less of their genes or their like brain chemistry and more just like this is what they were drilled into. So I always kind of like that aspect.
One last counter to that.
Yeah.
Something we do see especially in modern militaries, especially in United States military, look at Fort Bragg, drug abuse, combat narcotics. And that is, and although we see combat narcotics in The Emperor's Children, we see more of the realistic impact of what they do. It's not, real combat narcotics are not about making everything feel so good while you're killing people.
It's not haze.
It's about, bloodlust and focus and pain resistance. And that is effectively how the Butcher's Nails operate. But I mean, again, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves in the series here. I just wanted to mention that because I think Warhammer fans would probably notice that if they were to actually read this book. They'd be like, the world eaters are angry, and that's right, but where's the brain wires? Doesn't matter. But
it really doesn't. I like the world eaters just being angry. I like Skrull being so mad that he's not killing things right away, that he has to kill something in a mission.
Ooh, yeah. They just have to kill the dock workers.
Yeah, it's so good.
It is good.
Cool
character.
About Motep?
We should talk about Motep. Cool, calm, collected.
Just an
so tell me about the name.
I mean, like, it's Hotep with an M.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of the legions have like a specific culture, right? Like we got the Space Vikings and the Space Wolves. The Ultramarines are by far the most Space Roman. And
I guess they are.
Absolutely, especially when you see what their armor looks like in like the artistic depictions. And,
it's more the name,
the models, and the names, and their weapons. They weird spathas, which are the long blades of the Roman legions. So yeah, they're Space Romans, and the Thousand Sons are Space Egyptians. So yeah, there you go.
It's just a weird name to give someone, especially someone with a third eye thing going on.
There's no subtlety, but who needs it? This is Warhammer. I do like the character Motep.
Oh, me too.
I like his cool, calm, collected attitude, not revealing nothing.
I like that he's a Dark Souls character in the middle of this book where he starts throwing lightning spears. Basically,
he's like an Elden Ring, vibe for sure.
Motep has a faith build.
Yeah, he's breaking the rules. He's using psyker powers, which is 100. This is like the MO of the Thousand Sons. They're all psychers, and they were told no, stop doing that. Their whole thing, their whole deal, their whole specialty. And the Emperor said, nah, stop that. Don't do it. Not allowed.
And they do it anyway.
And they do it anyway. To much greater and more interesting effect in later books. But in this one, it really does cause arguably some of the most interesting conflicts. Because Bringar, being a space wolf, which Warhammer fans know, hate witches.
Even though they have the most, like, witch aesthetics in some ways, right?
Just wait until you read 1,000 Suns. At that point, you'll be like, what the fuck? But yes, absolutely. These are the least orthodox of the legions in a lot of ways are the Space Wolves. Yet they're the ones who hate psychers the most. And Bringar really follows through with that. And so, like, every time Motep starts using psychic powers, which every time he uses them, if he hadn't, this whole thing would have gone up in flames. Like, everyone would be dead if he didn't use them. So arguably he's right to do it. But every time he does it, Bringar's like, okay, but the word of the Emperor was, you shouldn't do this. So, no, we're going to kill him, actually? And in the lore, the Space Wolves are the Emperor's executioners. They're the ones he sends when somebody has broken the rules so badly that they need to be utterly destroyed. So he's like, listen, man, this is literally my job. My job is to kill witches. And you, my best friend, Cestus, are not going to let me kill this witch? Fuck you, bro. But Motep stays cool, calm, and collected the whole time. Never actually admits to his psychic use until he is caught in the act red-handed.
Right. Until it's really undeniable.
Yeah. But another interesting feature of him is that he's by himself. There are no Thousand Sons with him. He has some of the Prosperian Spire Guard, so like non-Astartes from his home world who are in the army. But he is the only Thousand Son in this like mini fleet that's sent out against the Furious Abyss. And he is the captain of his own ship. It's his specialty, is void combat. And boy, does he have a pretty ship. Although it doesn't last very long.
No, it gets wrecked by the Furious Abyss.
Yeah. The Waning Moon has like this beautiful golden like command bridge with a bejeweled command throne, and and he does get one lucky hit in that first confrontation with the Furious Abyss. It's his lance strike that causes what seems like not big damage at first, and turns out to force the Furious Abyss into repairs. So after they jump through the warp, they have to stop at a space station and fix their boat before they can continue on to Macragge.
Yeah, and
any other thoughts on Motep?
Yeah, I love the scene where everyone is like dying in his ship, and he just has to get to a survivor's pod. And it's really this like grim and dark, like going through all these dead bodies. And
the not
like,
dead bodies they willfully part way.
They had given their lives to the Thousand Sons. They had known that they would die in service one way or another. Motep ignored the dead and pressed on.
And even his like personal servant, like a shelf gets knocked over on him or some shit, and like he's crushed under this thing, and or a panel or something, and he's like, please, master, kill me. And Motep's like, okay, and he has to find it in his heart to care enough to shoot this guy in the head. Like it's like he overcomes a brief moment of uncaring, and is like, yeah, it's fair, I'll shoot you. Very grimdark. But yes, Motep's boat gets blown up. The three of the four escorts get blown up. The one other battle cruiser besides the Wrathful gets blown up. So complete disaster for this response fleet. Only the Wrathful and a small escort, the Fireblade, escape. And just barely.
Yeah, and they gotta go through the warp.
Yes. One other feature I think worth mentioning of this initial battle is there is one of the ships sends out a full like suite of fighter jets or fighter planes or whatever.
A squadron,
to take out and do damage to the Furious Abyss, and the fleet gets or the squadrons are completely sabotaged by a psychic attack that like instantly brainwashes random members of the crews of those fighters and makes them shoot each other and kill each other and crash into each other. And that's kind of a spooky thing, like to see dozens of attack vessels suddenly start shooting each other and blow up in their own faces. Again, highlights the real danger of warp magic and psychers. Are we ready to talk about the battle on the space station?
Well, first there's one character.
Sorry.
Well, Continue. No, actually, there's one character I wanted us to talk about a bit. My favorite character in the book, I think.
Kaminska?
Admiral Kaminska. Probably the most well-done woman in all of these books.
Oh, yeah. So far, absolutely. She is great. She's just a commander. She's a woman, and never once is anything about her womanhood mentioned, or the fact that she is a lady, really.
Well, like in the sense that, like, you know, the way Warhammer does, which is derogatory mentions that it's a woman.
Right. I mean, it's acknowledged that she's, you know, a woman, but beyond that, it's not used like, you know, despite being a woman, or of course she was jealous because she's a woman. Like, we don't get any of that. Yeah. So
Thank
none
God.
of the derogatory nonsense. She's just a commander.
Well,
and
also
she's good at it.
A cool one because they're from the Saturn fleet.
The Saturnine, yes, fleet, which is soon to be decommissioned, as we learn later. This was like their last hurrah. They were supposed to be done with this, retiring to some extent, and they get flung off onto this last minute total nonsense mission from her perspective. Like, it's, you know, we don't even know what's going on. Why are all these ships getting assembled and sent out? And frankly, I'm an admiral. Why are you taking command of my ship from me? I get it. You're an Astartes. You have that authority, but fuck you, man.
Yeah.
And Cestus he does run roughshod over her command, as is stated. And
he notices, and there's this friction between these two, where she is doing her level best to be as professional as possible, even though it's clearly fucking irritating that this man is leading them on a suicide mission, but not telling him anything. And he's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, but we got to do this. Sorry.
And she eventually does stand up to him. He's like, are you fit to continue command, Kaminska? I notice you don't like my orders. And she's like, I am loyal, dude. I am loyal. I've done everything you told me to do, but you have completely taken over command of my ship and my fleet. You're running us straight into a suicide mission. A little respect, motherfucker. And Cestus, again, to his credit, Ultramarine special power, they can apologize.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? Damn, you're right. Shit, my bad.
And then he starts including her on the briefings that he does with the Astartes throughout the book, because he has these constant scenes of, all right, Astartes, let's go into our little clubhouse as we plan to give the orders.
So you know what? I got to take back my initial statement. We do see character growth here. We see real change, at least in Cestus.
Well,
like,
this is the relationship change, right? Like, this is part of, like, Cestus and his relationships are being tried and tested.
Yes. And he passes this test very well, and earns her loyalty, which really pays off in the end, despite all the horrors they go through. Like the trip through the warp, that first trip through the warp, and the Fireblade becoming possessed as a ship as a whole. That's kind of a spooky sequence when out in the warp. We see from the perspective of one of the ratings of the Fireblade, their Geller fields go down, and then suddenly the ship becomes this endless landscape of emotions that are visualized and realized, and their dreams and memories are all brought to life.
I like this description from it. The sky of hatred split apart, and a yawning mouth opened up above Alagro's soul.
Yeah. Great. One of the best descriptions I've read of the warp. It's just an endless ocean of emotion and impressions and thoughts and feelings and ideas. And I like how he goes, like, from the highest heights of emotion and feeling and greatness into the utter pit of despair, as he and his fellow crew members are all consumed by a warp beast. And then that beast brings the Fireblade up to the Wrathful, and they thought they were lost. They're like, damn, nah, come on, dudes, dock with us. We'll fix you up. And nope, no people left on that boat. Just monsters, just warp monsters. Big old battle. And I think this is where Motep first reveals his powers. Although nobody catches him, he says, everybody, get out of here. When the Astartes rush to fight off the warp entities, it's clear that they're not going to be able to defeat an entire, possessed ship's crew. He sends Bringar and Skrull out, get out of here. I got this. I'll self-destruct this stuff. And then somehow, after a huge, explosion and the warp beasts are destroyed and defeated, he steps back out of the fire blade and is like, nope, I'm back, and then passes out. Yeah. Or no, he doesn't pass out right away, I guess. He falls down after saying, I did it, or something like that. I don't know.
And like Bringar was just, hey, the only way anyone can survive that is if they're up to some witch shit.
Yeah. And he's right. And
he's right,
everybody...
but there's no proof.
Yeah, Cestus is like, yeah, maybe, kind of, probably, but we don't know for sure, so we need a trial. We got to put him on trial. And this is the first real major tension between Bringar and Cestus. So Motep is put in timeout. He's gotta sit in his chambers and think about what he's done while everybody else figures out what's going on.
Should we get to the next part of my summary?
Yes.
After leaving the warp, the Furious Abyss docks at a space station for repairs. The Wrathful destroys the Fireblade and also docks at the same space station. A battle erupts on the dock that leads to Antiges and Skrull to infiltrate the Furious Abyss. Zadkiel taunts the Space Marines like a Bond villain as Antiges sacrifices himself to let Skrull escape. The Furious Abyss leaves into the warp with the Wrathful trailing them. Bringard manages to capture a word bearer but fails in his torture to get any useful information. Motep says he can do it and Cestus accepts his help. This causes Bringard to challenge Cestus to a duel, which he loses. Even though Cestus wins, he loses his friendship to Bringar. Motep knocks...
very sad.
It's very sad. Motep knocks himself out using his powers, and after awakening, he tells Cestus the word bearer's plan.
Yes. And also, I guess, imprints the entire layout of the Furious Abyss into Cestus's mind.
As a little treat.
Yeah. A little thank you for not killing me right away. So the battle on this space station is where we see Skrull and his world eaters being like Skrull instructs his world eaters. Yeah, you might as well let's kill some guys on our way to the boat so that we can get that blood up. Yeah, might as well. Just make sure there's no witnesses.
Just pretend cameras don't exist.
Yeah, so completely innocent dock workers and servitors are just butchered by the world eaters on their way to the sabotage mission. Bringar's a part of this mission as well. But his squad of blood claws kind of gets waylaid by an ambush of word bearers who they manage to fend off and fight off the assault captain Bella something. I forgot to write down all the word bearers' names, and so I keep forgetting what their actual names are. Bellanos, yeah. Bellanos is mortally wounded by Bringar in a pretty cool fight with his rune axe versus massive two-handed Dragon Slayer gut style big ol' power sword. They have a pretty sick fight, and Bringar gets them. The word bearers drag their assault captain away. Altus, that ambitious boy who maybe wasn't all that ambitious, but is just a little cheeky, gets snatched. There is a pretty crazy moment as Antiges and Skrull are trying to get onto the Furious Abyss, and there's just hundreds and hundreds of fanatics pouring out of the ship, and they've got to just butcher their way through it. And the world leaders are like, "Oh yeah, this is what we do." Yeah, they're having a ball.
This is a Tuesday.
And Antiges is just horrified. And I love the moment where Skrull picks up one of those random mortals by the head and then cuts him in half with his chain axe, and then turns to Antiges. He's like, "Too intense for you, Ultramarine."
Yeah, it's really funny.
Great. Yeah. And then they get on the boat, and only Skrull survives that.
One of my favorite parts is when they're fighting in the Furious Abyss, and the word bearers. Here, let me read this passage. Several of his brothers heaved his body towards them, but to act as an improvised cover rather than out of any sense of reverence for their dead comrade.
Yeah.
So the word bearers
the
are
world
just
leader-
using
world leaders. Yeah.
No, word bearers are doing this.
I thought that was a
world
world
leaders.
leader.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I get them mixed up. Okay, here's the issue. Here's
Both
an
start with
issue.
W.
Both start with W. The names aren't that different.
No.
Like, we have Space Wolves and Luna Wolves. I feel like they just started running out of names for these legions at some point.
We also have Iron Hands, Iron Warriors, and Imperial Fists.
Dark Angels, Blood Angels.
Yes.
It truly is very funny that I'll never get these names right.
There's 18 named legions, so it's like there's gonna be some similarities here and there, probably.
Not if I named them.
No, probably not. But you're too clever to work for Games Workshop. Another moment worth mentioning probably is that Cestus wants to lead this assault on the dock.
Yep.
And Tigis, his best boy, his closest Ultramarine buddy, says, "Dog, I can't let you do that. You're in charge of this mission. This is stupid dangerous. Let me take your place." And Cestus almost says no. But eventually relents and allows his best boy Antigis to take his place. And Antigis dies for it. And his body gets taken for creepy, gross stuff.
Oh, it's good. It's so good.
Yeah. Very grim and dark.
Something we haven't mentioned is Zadkiel is in contact with a Core Pharaon.
Core Pharaon. Yeah.
I like this passage. It was a singular honor to be in Core Pharaon's presence, albeit across the infinity of warp space, and Zadkiel was at once humbled by the experience. It was not an emotion he had great affinity with.
that is a good
so
one.
Good. It's so good.
Another moment we don't mention is the very, very, very beginning, when the Furious Abyss is built. Kelbor Hall is present to witness its launch. Kelbor Hall is the chief executive commander of all the Mechanicum. He's the fabricator general. That is arguably the third maybe most powerful person in the entire Imperium. Because remember, the Mechanicum.
Funny. That's so funny that's barely, that's not even.
Barely mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's the fabricator general, and you just need to know what that is for you to understand the significance of his presence.
Maybe I'll learn that next book.
But why I was reminded that, Mechanicum next. Why I was reminded of this just now is that, he doesn't have great affinity with honor or whatever, or feeling whatever he felt.
Humbled.
With Pharaon.
Feeling humbled, which is amazing.
Yes. Kelbor Hall is also, he and his subordinates are like, oh, these Astartes, they're all so emotional over the launching of this ship. What? That's just silly. And then Kelbor Hall almost immediately is like, yeah, it's silly for them to get so emotional about something like this. We hear this dude flew all the way from Mars, and had to come up with a bunch of excuses for why he came out to see this. I'm just expecting the Saturnine shipyards or something like that, or the Jovian shipyards. But he literally came just to see this boat launch, just to see the Furious Abyss get out of there. And he has to search his data banks for what is this thing what is this feeling? I'm feeling something.
Yeah.
Oh, awe. The word is awe. I am in awe. And I also like that it's specifically mentioned, he didn't come here for any emotional reason. He just felt like he really had to mark the occasion for some reason.
It's so good. Ben Counter actually does this move quite often, where he gives the perspective of the character, saying the character, they don't know what they're feeling, but they're feeling this, basically. There's a lot of scenes where the Astartes feel fear, and they're like, what the fuck is this feeling?
Yes.
What am I feeling right now? And Ben Counter very, very much describes what fear feels like. And it's so good. I love it.
I agree. I think he highlights, the most interesting thing about these characters. And that is that they feel things, despite the fact that they're all convinced they don't.
Right. Right. Ben really gets the like aesthetic of Warhammer and the tension of what that aesthetic can cause. Because I think that's where Warhammer is a lot of fun, is that tension of, you know, denying what is right there in front of you, but still having to contend with it.
Absolutely. Most Space Marines deny their humanity, and I think a lot of the authors deny them their humanity too. They treat them like gods, like demigods at the least.
Like
Ben Counter
angels.
treats them like Ben Counter treats them like big, strong people. They're people, and arguably they're dehumanized a lot by their modifications, but they're still people, and it feels right.
Yeah, this is a very much like Astartes are people. They feel emotions regardless of what, you know, even the lore states, right? Like this is like this is like feels like a thing where I feel like I'm constantly told Space Marines just have that trained out of them. There is no room for them to feel that feelings when it's very clear that that's just not true. That's just not true.
They know no fear, except absolutely they do. They just reject it. Or they deal with it.
And I like it when, instead of it being a passive thing that's occasionally mentioned, when it's really leaned into.
Yes. And it is arguably one of the primary focuses of this novel, I think.
Yeah. I like when Antiges sees the different Legion chapter symbols.
Yeah.
I think all
the
these
Osseous
are great.
Throne and the brazen skull and
Yeah, a quill with a drop of blood at its nib, an open hand with an eye in the palm, a burning book, and a scepter crowned with a skull.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Great banners. The word bearers have great banners.
Yeah, word bearers are great.
Yeah. Spooky.
Also,
they're one of the spookier legions, yeah.
Also, Zadkiel loves to monologue at them.
Boy, does he. Sermonize.
Yeah, sure.
He's this is his church and this is his congregation, and he's got a rip-roaring sermon for these boys every time.
I do like that he tries to turn Skrull.
He does, yes. And I do love Skrull's line and Zadkiel's response. We'll send we'll send Horus after you, or we'll send the War Master. And Zadkiel just cackles and responds.
Right.
Doesn't tell him what's up. He's like, okay, yeah, okay.
But I also think it does something interesting where not all the World Eaters know that Angron is working with Horus, and people are going to die because of it.
And these make some of the best characters in the entire series are loyalists amongst the traitor legions. It makes me wonder, like, would Skrull have turned if he learned Angron had turned? Horus had turned.
I mean,
probably not, but
I would say probably, because Skrull really seems to like his daddy. Like, that seems like
yeah.
Like he would. But he can't imagine it because he doesn't have the imagination or the space to imagine that, right? Like he can't consider that Angron would betray because he doesn't see it with his own eyes. I bet if he saw it with his own eyes, he would go with it.
Maybe he would. But lucky for us and the loyalists, he don't know it. And so he's a good boy. Or good enough.
Relatively.
Yeah, he's definitely a bad guy, but he's a bad guy fighting for the better cause. Are we ready for the second trip into the warp now?
Yeah, this second trip's fun. They collapse the warp tunnel?
Yeah, the word bearers drop a psychic mine that collapses the warp route, which kind of does make sense if you think of the way we navigate the warp in the game Rogue Trader, right? Where we have to establish certain routes, and some of them are more dangerous than others. This is like if you dropped a danger bomb right in the middle of somebody's route while they were traveling it.
I just gotta say, I mean, it makes as much sense as any of this makes sense, personally, for me, where it's like, yeah, of course you can collapse the warp tunnel by launching a bomb filled with a whole bunch of psychic people in pain or whatever they do.
Yeah. Psychers have a louder presence in the warp than non-psychers.
Yeah.
And So yeah, you torture them and you blow them up directly in the pathway of a boat that's floating through hell. Hell's gonna get a little choppy.
Yeah, hell's gonna send the banshees after you.
Yeah. And this is when a demon begins to possess members of the Wrathful. It infiltrates during this during this moment. There are some warp spawn that start spawning. People splitting open into hideous, gibbering mutations. Powerful mutations that are capable of killing Astartes. Mm-hmm. This is another instance where, like, they probably... I don't know that Bringar could have, like... And Cestus and their boys, as Skrull, could have done this on their own, but Motep rolls up, blasts them with some psychic superpowers, and takes care of the spawn, at least the ones that show up right away, in time for everybody else to survive so that they can go on for the final assault.
Yeah. Well, and also we get like Bringar can't, like, it has Ultis. They captured Ultis from the battle, and Bringar's like trying to torture this guy while they're in the warp at the beginning. Just can't do it. And then we get
can't break him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Motep says he can do it. And Cestus says, all right, have at it. And this causes Bringar to challenge Cestus to an honor duel.
Yeah. A pretty good battle.
Pretty great 1v1.
Yeah, it's quick, but it's intense. It's pretty brutal. It's
sad.
It's sad. It's two best friends who really are forced to destroy their friendship in order to stick to their deepest beliefs.
Well, I like how the book paints it that it's not that Bringar destroyed the friendship, it's that Cestus specifically does. Because of Cestus' willingness to compromise, willingness to let things aside for the sake of the mission. This is what causes the friendship to dissolve.
Yeah. Now, later on, when Motep has a discussion with Usoric, the demon, Usoric's like, I did this. I drove the wedge between you and Bringar. I don't like that, because I think it's better that this is just Bringar being Bringar and Cestus having to do what he has to do.
Oh, I kind of took that a little more literally, like I was causing things physically, so you'd have to confront it. Not like driving the emotion, but you're right. It probably did mean driving the emotion, because we do know Bringar starts having different visions of, like, his time on the planet Fenris. Fenris?
Yes, Fenris. Yep.
Okay.
Which I believe is the name of the ancient Norse wolf that eats the world. Fenrir is that wolf.
Yeah.
But they're
Loki's kid.
Space. Yes. But yes. So we get this duel, and Cestus just barely beats Bringar. By picking up one of the because they're fighting shirtless in just their shorts and their boots with chain swords, and they are fighting only to first blood.
Yeah,
but which is good. But there are a couple moments where Bringar is literally trying to behead Cestus. Like he takes full swings that, if not dodged, would take off his head. And that's kind of like that moment when that is first described, that Cestus ducks a blow that would have taken his head. That is the first moment where it really is sad to me, like really quite sad. Mm-hmm. Bringar is willing to do whatever it takes to win this fight.
Well, and also Bringar was willing to do whatever it took to break Ultis, including cum interrogation.
Yes, cum interrogation. You better read that passage to give context to that line, because there is a cum interrogation, but
the gloom of the isolation cum interrogation chamber was as Cestus remembered it, although now the air was redolent of copper and sweat.
But perhaps better pronounced cum.
Yeah.
Cum.
Yeah.
Interrogation.
Cum
yes.
interrogation.
This is Latin.
So funny.
No,
to
it definitely
throw Latin in this, and like, commentary.
And which word did you pick? You picked cum. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Ben, I love you.
Truly amazing. I could survive the Space Marine commentarization. I know I could.
Love it. So yeah, Motep does the deed, but now it's for real. Okay, yeah, you're a magic boy. You didn't just use magic to interrogate that guy. You also magicked your way through this fight. We can't trust you, buddy. You're going to jail.
Yeah. I also like the another part of like during the like Banshee attack. Cestus has this thought or this passage. The Ultramarine captain wondered for a moment whether he had been wrong all along, whether the imperial truth itself was wrong, and that the hells of those primitive faiths really did exist to be given form in the lance decks. Great. Yeah. I love self-doubt.
The doubt. Yeah, the doubt. Yes. We don't have enough loyalists doubt in these books, I don't think.
Well, especially like the Ultramarines shouldn't be the ones doubting, like on paper. Like this is like,
right.
It's so good because of that. Because they say, well, these are the guys. These are the Astartes that you want to do stuff.
They're the poster boys of Space Marines, and literally, like if you see a Space Marine on a box that you buy in the store and it's not a Chaos Marine, 9 times out of 10, it's an Ultramarine. The boys in blue. And they're Primarch Rowboat Girly Man. So we end up with Skrull wandering the decks to the Furious Abyss for weeks, barely scraping by and surviving, going kind of crazy.
My favorite part is like finding the remains of people who built the ship but lived and died in here too.
Yeah. Like the workers who built the Great Wall of China who became part of its foundation, right? It's great.
Or like when Saudi Arabia builds the stadium in this day and age.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Jeez.
Yeah, no.
They sure suck, don't they?
They sure.
Yeah.
You mean the kingdom run by an evil tyrant family sucked? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how much longer it lasts. Folks, if you're watching the news, it sounds like the Iranians are doing a pretty good job blowing up all of the Gulf states. And you know what? War is terrible, and war sucks, and we shouldn't celebrate war. But man, fuck those guys. Anyway,
bye Dubai.
Yeah, bye Dubai.
They were the forgotten dead of the Furious's birth.
Yeah.
Sucked into the machinery, or simply lost and left to starve or die of thirst in the ship's labyrinthine depths. Sick. That rules. I want to talk about something also cool that happens in the warp, which is the warp storm that, Core does to help out Zadkiel.
Because we're talking about Core Farron, right?
Yeah.
Core Farron, by the way, very interesting character. I think, again, this is like a detail that maybe this was developed later in the lore. It shows up for sure in Betrayer. Core Farron is not an Astartes. You do not get that in this book.
I just assumed he was.
Because he's the most esteemed warrior of the Wordbearer's Legion in Lorgar's eyes. Yeah, you'd assume that, right? And it's
right.
He's always described in old lore. He is, I think, pretty much always described as just another Astartes. But no, Core Farron is similar to the Dark Angels adults who were, who the Imperium shows
like
up
Luthor.
after they. Yes, like Luthor. Core Farron's like Luthor. He's an ascended mortal, but not receiver of gene seed. He actually is Lorgar's dad. The man, so kind of like Luthor, but definitely more fatherly than Luthor. Luthor's more of like the brother of the Lion. Core Farron is like straight up Lorgar's adopted dad.
Interesting. Well, I can't wait to get into that.
Yeah.
Because that sounds fun.
Yes. It's Core Farron and Erebus are the two big players in the Wordbearers alongside Lorgar. But yeah, Core Farron has this
I really like
conversation.
the storm.
Yeah, the storm's good. It's cool. It's kind of cool that it's Corferon helping Zadkiel, but it's very clearly a big old insult that Zadkiel needs help, and it's kind of a big deal that he even accepts it.
I do love how Cor just truly does hate Zadkiel.
Oh yeah, he is. Corferon hates everyone and everything all the time. But yeah, it is clear that he has nothing but contempt for Zadkiel. It almost is it seems like surprising that Zadkiel somehow got command of this big, massive super ship because Corferon has such a low opinion of him. But, that's just word bearers, maybe.
You know what? That's just word bearers. Should we get into my final part of the summary?
I think so. You know what? If we had to split this into parts, I think we're on part 3.
So yeah, the word bearers' plan. They're going to destroy the moon in order to destroy the Ultramarine fleet with the moon debris. The Furious Abyss will also use the rocks as cover to drop a live virus bomb onto the planet. The Wrathful attacks the Furious Abyss while they're launching boarding shuttles in a last-ditch attempt to stop the Furious Abyss. Cestus leads a squad into the ship and barely survives. Bringar is psychically tricked and kills all of his companions. He then fights a dreadnought in a duel and is saved by Skrull. Cestus is also psychically attacked and believes he is in hell. He believes he's in hell. He shakes off the attack and meets up with Bringar and Skrull. They decide to blow up the reactor of the ship. Motep awakes again aboard the Wrathful and finds a demon called Wosric? Wasoric.
Yeah.
Has found that a demon called Wasoric has killed the rest of the crew. They battle, leading Motep to kill the demon's physical form, and then he dies. Skrull sacrifices himself so Bringar and Cestus can get to the reactor. Bringar sacrifices himself to blow up the reactor. Cestus stops Zadkiel from escaping by dueling him to the death. Cestus accepts his death as the Furious Abyss blows up.
Yeah, this is this last third of the book, or last chunk of the book, is probably my favorite chunk of a Horus Heresy novel that we've read yet.
Really?
Just because the pacing works for me. The moments hit hard consistently, and it's just like bam, 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 bam. We get the moment between Cestus and Kaminska where he's describing to everyone the plan. It's going to take this, it's going to take that, and most of all, he looks at Kaminska, it's going to take sacrifice. And she has to go on a suicide mission to allow them a last-ditch chance to launch a few suicide lifeboats into or assault pods into the Furious Abyss with a tiny number of Astartes who are hoping they're somehow going to get a chance to at least take out the virus bomb, hopefully do more damage. But this is high stakes, high intensity, terrible odds, and every character's end is impactful. You feel it. It matters. Great one-liners.
I love when Admiral Kaminska,
I love the pace.
She tells the crew to get to the survivor pods, and classic hell yeah crew moment. The crew goes, no, we're going down with you, ma'am.
Yeah. Wonderful moment. And then what I mean by hard-hitting moments, we have this badass, the crew stays, and then immediately they become possessed by demons. And it's
each other
this
apart.
Horrible, tragic. Yeah, rip each other apart. It's this horrible, tragic, terrible end. The worst end. Because as we hear earlier in the book, when Motep first encounters the warp spawn, when he first realizes that the ship of the Fireblade have all been possessed, that means their souls, no matter what they do, their souls are forever lost in the torturous warp.
Yep.
And so these heroes, the crew of the Wrathful, are actually going to be permanently locked in hell forever. That is incredible sacrifice. Rarely in literature do you see characters go to hell in order to save the day from mortal people who are just going to live short lives.
I'm sorry. I would like to say the most important literature character of all time does this, and his name is Jesus.
You know what? Jesus, I'm sorry. I've disrespected you, and I come to you humbly, and I offer myself to you. Let us bathe in his light and
I'm
be
on my
accepted
knees
unto the Lord.
My mouth is open,
begging.
ready to accept
Yes.
Jesus.
God, Jesus, come into me. Come into me now. Okay, I feel blessed. I feel bathed in the Lord's light. I think we're ready to continue. Thank you for the correction.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I thought it important to be true to ourselves.
Yeah, this is a Catholics and Lutherans podcast, guys. We believe.
It kind of is in a funny way.
It's our own confession, okay? So, yeah.
Motep kills that demon.
He sure does. And, it's a badass sacrifice. He didn't really have a choice. Like, what else is he going to do?
What else does he have going on?
Yeah, but, he's got that spooky fight with the spooky Kaminska's possessed Blades Fingers demon. It's brutal, more light spears, and then a grenade in the chest, and ba-boom! Demon die, and boat crash.
Yeah, boat crash into the moon.
Yep. But not so bad that the moon blows up.
Thank God.
Thank God. Yep. Thank the Emperor. And then aboard the Furious Abyss. Skrull, being, all haggard and barely sane, and crawling through, the walls of this ship just to survive. Bringar, murdering his own fucking blood claws. After, first of all, the drop sequence, their assault ships crashing into the torpedo tubes, and, half of Cestus, actually all of Cestus's men, all of the Ultramarines in the boat that he's not in, they crash on the surface. So his standard bearer and one of the other named characters who barely speaks, they blow up. They don't even land. That's a real sacrifice. That's a moment you feel. Bringar's ship gets hit, and it's kind of unclear. I mean, he's gonna live. You're gonna see him one more time, but he and his blood claws, chanting "Mother Fenris, Mother Fenris," onto the Mother of War, let her welcome us in.
And yet they hate witches.
Yeah, no, they hate witches. No god worship, but I mean, Mother Fenris is different though, right?
Of course.
It's great. They get shot. It looks like they're off into an abyss of an entirely different kind. And
that's kind of true.
And it is true. Cestus just barely makes it in. He and his boys jump off the boat, and they use. So the psychic attacks that have been hitting us throughout this story are from these people called the Supplicants.
Yeah.
Who are non-Astartes psychers who have all these wires in their brains connecting them to these machines. Their heads and craniums are swollen. They're all in these limp fetal positions, and they seem like they're dreaming, and then when they're activated, they're clearly having a nightmare. And the last of them are sacrificed because apparently they allow for some kind of cloaking or something like that. They can hide your presence in the warp or whatever, and that they've been used for that purpose to sneak up the Wordbearer's fleet as a whole onto the Ultramar system. By the way, worst reason to name the Ultramarines that they're from the system of Ultramar. Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Back to the bad namings for the legions.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
One of the worst conventions in all of Warhammer is that the Ultramarines are from the Ultramar system.
Right,
Terrible.
and it's definitely they came up with Ultramarines first and then worked backwards to get Ultramar, which is ugh.
So here's the thing. It's great and it rules because that was first decided back when Warhammer was purely a joke and pure satire. True 80s Warhammer was just no, this is all silly and stupid and very funny. And now the people who've grown up on this shit take it all very, very seriously. But originally, this was actually a joke that the Ultramarines are from. Oh, it's because they're from Ultramar.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can live with that, and I do think like I don't mind people taking this universe seriously in the way that Ben Counter does. Like it works.
Yeah. No. So you can have serious moments in a silly universe. Like Star Wars as a universe shouldn't be taken seriously either, but it should be allowed its serious moments.
Yeah, melodrama. This is melodrama, right?
Yeah,
This is the contradictions of melodrama where it's kind of silly when you take a step back, but when you're in it, like when we're in these sacrifices happening at the end, you're fucking in it. You're like,
yeah.
Skrull sacrifices himself to kill that one asshole, Reskiel. And it's so good. Like he like gets almost chopped down, and then he's like survives and murders the shit out of that dude.
Yeah, dudes rock. Bringar, another horrible, brutal moment. He kills his blood claws.
Yeah,
this is the old veteran who is leading a band of bright young recruits who follow his lead and do whatever he says. And he kills them all. And the way it's described is really cool. Like he's having this sick. Like dream sequence where he is a wolf on Fenris, and he, is covered in the blood of all these other wolves who have been attacking him or something, or he's been fighting. And then there's a young wolf in the distance with red fur, and he, the gray, must battle it. And they have this, pretty intense fight. It's brutal. He kills the blood claw, and then pretty much right away like wakes up and recognizes, oh my god, I've murdered my boys.
He wakes up because of a giant black wolf tells him, look around you, Bringar. This is not Fenris.
Yes. Who's the black wolf?
I mean, I just gotta assume it's his daddy in like psychic form or some sort. Like mentally. Like, right?
A fair assumption, it can't be. I'll tell you it can't be.
Well, my second thing is this is what's his face? The Thousand Sun Primarch is doing his bid again.
So Magnus, another fair guess because he does show up in the form of a wolf. But we actually get there is an answer to this.
Will I find out later?
No, no. The answer to this is in this book. It's hidden. So remember, he has that sequence. You mentioned it earlier, where he's on Fenris, he's imagining Fenris. He's thinking about Fenris when he's on the ship, and his pistol that he's misplaced mysteriously appears before him because it's given to him by a wolfen, a large black wolf that he saw in the distance on Fenris.
When he did his trial.
When he did his trial, becoming a space wolf.
When he was in his loincloth running around.
So you played Rogue Trader.
Uh-huh.
Faden, I know you forget things from Rogue Trader because there's a lot in that game. Do you remember the wolfen in Rogue Trader?
No.
So we have a space wolf in Rogue Trader.
Right.
Did you end his loyalty quest?
No, you got to remember I killed that man.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so you didn't meet the wolfen. But anyway, okay, so the wolfen, this is established lore, a thing you should know. It's something inside. Well, I'm not going to give away too much because there's more. We get more later.
Okay.
In a Thousand Suns.
They got that dog in them.
Here they got that dog in them, and this is Bringar, that dog in him speaking to him. Basically. This is his. So you were kind of right. This is his dad. This is his gene seed speaking to him.
Okay.
Something special about the Space Wolves is that they do seem to have a strong resistance to the warp.
Okay, so they have the stat bonus resistant to warp,
which is why they're the witch hunters.
Of course.
Yes. So yes, this is that dog in him, helping him resist the warp. But unfortunately, far too late. He's killed all his boys. He's killed his sons, which is pretty terrible. He gets his rematch with the Dreadnought, which is Belanus.
Yep. I like it, but I like how Belanus is not fully in the Dreadnought. He's only partially sealed in.
So which is good because otherwise he really wouldn't have a chance. Bringar really wouldn't have a chance.
I mean,
Dreadnoughts are walking tanks. They are.
I think you just
Very-
do it. I think you just go for it, right? You just actually
Yeah.
put him in there and then say, Bringar's so cool, he took down a tank.
Maybe. This is, Warhammer lore realism. It's hard to get a guy in a dreadnought. It takes a lot of time and a lot of long, extensive rituals.
God.
I know. But it is established Warhammer logic that it takes time to get this guy in that bot.
I like how Skrull saves him. Just like, hey, bro.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep, I got you, bro. And then, as you mentioned, Skrull has his sacrifice moment towards the end. Now, we cannot skip past Cestus in Hell. That is, I think,
that's my
hands
favorite part
down,
of the book.
Yes, I completely agree. The most grimdark thing we have seen in the Horus Heresy yet. Hands down.
I
This
like
man
being
spends
broken upon a cog.
lifetimes. Yeah, oh my god. Like, so there's, running across a field of blades and feeling the whip on your back and falling down onto a pit of swords and being impaled in a bunch of places and still denying this can't be real. I'm not a coward. I'm not in the coward's pit of hell. And but yeah, being in the machine specifically. So yeah, part of the apparently Macragian hell is one of the circles is that you become a part of a machine. You become a component in a great horrible machine, and like he's impaled with pistons, and his back is being broken on a cog.
His
and
leg bones are being not shuttered out. His leg bones are piercing through his skin and breaking out.
Yeah, just absolute, like, some real crunchy body horror. And Antigues is there, or at least he perceives Antigues being there, and Antigues has been broken and has given up. And
specifically says, you betrayed us, you led us to our deaths for no reason.
Yes.
Because the worst circle of hell is for the betrayers because of the priest kings or whatever they had back in the day.
Yes. Which, this is just a reference to Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
But, yes.
But I like, because it's Warhammer, the worst circle of hell is betrayal.
That's the same. That's the same.
Oh, is that the same?
Dante's Inferno.
I just assumed the circle of shit is the worst place, but maybe that's just...
No. No, that's just your...
that's just my...
Copophobia.
Yeah.
Yeah, corpophobia.
Yeah, it fucking really is.
Yeah. No, yeah, the deepest circle of hell is for betrayers.
That's so funny.
And he's broken on the machine. His body is torn apart, but he denies, I am not a betrayer. This was what I was supposed to do. And even though his bestest friend Antigues is accusing him, he doesn't accept it. He doesn't take it. And because through his will, he does not accept that this is hell. I cannot be in hell. I do not belong here. He frees himself. And just in time, because he almost gets snatched up by some word bearers.
Yeah.
Rolls some grenades sneakily underneath the feetsies and blows up 2 of them and shoots the 3rd. And then the 3 boys are reunited. Assault on the reactor, because it's clear, even though we've damaged the torpedo bays, it's not going to be enough. We got to take out this thing for reals. We got to blow up the whole thing. So off to the reactors.
I gotta say, there is a point where Skrull, right before he's about to sacrifice himself, has truly, I think this is a misstep, the strangest of all thoughts.
Oh, yes! I'm glad you brought this up. I took a note on this too.
Yeah.
Please share it with us.
Yeah, so this is a... he talks about, like, his time spent running away. All those weeks fleeing like an animal, caged in the depths of the ship like a... ... like a slave. What? Because
Zadkiel said your Lord Angron is a slave.
I guess, but it makes no sense to me that, like...
To you. Okay, I hear you. To you, that doesn't make sense. Yes.
Because it's like...
This is important to the World Eaters.
What about
This is very important to the World Eaters.
I know, but what about running around a ship and hiding from people? Is slavery?
Because he could be killed at any moment if he's caught. So like it's slavery to him because he doesn't have unbound power anymore.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Like this just
he's
doesn't
trapped.
make any.
That's what he. So it makes sense in the sense that he was being like the thing that really stung him that Zadkiel said to him was that your lord is a slave. And you are a slave.
Yeah,
and that's why Ben Counter brings it back. But I hear you. The parallel isn't necessarily
the parallel
clear.
doesn't really like if there was like. I mean, he's just prey in this instance, not like a slave, right? Like this is classic. The hunted has become the hunter shit, not like a weird slave thing.
The reason why that word is brought up is because it's so important to the World Eaters and to him.
Yeah. It doesn't hit for me. It doesn't hit for me. And his last word being like, "I am no slave" is like, eh. Yeah.
So I actually misunderstood because the thing that I thought you were referencing that stood out to me was that when he sees oh my god, what's his name? Antigues. when he sees Antigues' a butchered corpse, he has the reflection, oh, these word bearers, this is the most horrible thing I've ever seen. This is so barbaric and disgusting. They're mutilating his corpse. I mutilate corpses too, and yeah, I murdered all those innocent people on the docks, but this is really taking things too far. And he's completely serious in those thoughts.
That works for me. Like that works for me because it's an Astartes having it happen to them.
Okay, yeah,
right.
I feel you
because
so, like,
it's disgusting to do that to an Astartes. Non-Astartes, who gives a shit?
I guess that tracks. It just like it feels fucking weird. Like
it is a little strange coming from a world eater.
Yeah, like I wonder how intentional it is on Ben Counter's part, you know, that he's like that the character literally thinks, yeah, I murdered civilians, but this is really crazy.
I think it's pretty intentional.
Yeah, in retrospect, I think you're right. Still, that moment really, that's what tripped me up.
It did trip me up at first too. I won't lie, it did trip me up, and then it was like reading, it was like, oh, this guy, right? I got to remember the Astartes still put Astartes' life. The only Astartes who doesn't do that is apparently Ultramarines, or at least Cestus.
Yes. Yeah. Ultramarines and
Alpha Legion.
And Alpha Legion. Yep.
Which, man, I kind of miss the Alpha Legion a little bit. Just thinking about that, I'm like, I miss the guy saying I am Alfarius.
Unfortunately, like the least utilized Legion in the entire series. Yeah, I know. It's a bummer.
So yeah, Brennigar blows himself up.
Which probably the most dude's rock moment in the book.
Swan dive into the reactor.
Yeah, punches Cestus in the face just as he's about to, go off and do his heroic sacrifice. Right. He's like, no, I'm not letting you do this, dude. And what's really, this is one of my favorite just written sequences we've read so far in the series. When he's back home. He's on Fenris. He is off. He's going to go swimming for whales. He's about to kill an orca.
Yeah.
And he dives into the great blue fireball of the plasma reactor, and he's diving into the oceans of Fenris. It's a beautiful sequence.
Anytime a Fenris vision happens, it's great.
Yes. I'm really excited for all the Space Wolf books, actually, because they really do have the most magical Legion in many respects, even though the Thousand Sons are the magical Legion.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But that's why the two of them interact the most, though. I think there's going to be some cool moments in A Thousand Sons, and then Prospero Burns, which is the sequel to that one, also a great read. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves now. We got to finish this bad boy.
Cestus goes to the shuttles because he knows Zadkiel is going to run away.
Yeah, great moment.
Also, we got the straight Chad's Spartha versus the queer rapier-like weapon.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad you picked up on that too. It's great. The straight sword and the curved sword, and of course the curved sword's the bad guy.
Well, rapiers are curved, right?
It's a rapier. You're right. I'm thinking
it's more like a sword versus the little gay dainty sword, right?
Yeah. Roman sword versus gay dainty sword.
Yeah.
I I was thinking actually of Motep's scimitar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't really get mentioned much in this.
It really should be a Kopesh if he's Egyptian, but whatever.
Yeah, like these people are known for being racially sensitive. I love Zadkiel having a rapier. It's so perfect. It makes me go, yes, he is a little like fancy gay villain.
Yeah, I love it. I love Cestus's like final like one-liners to Zadkiel, where he's like, "I thought captains go down with their ship," and he says, "That will not be my destiny." And he says, "I have your destiny right here," and takes out his sword. Awesome. I love that line. I have your destiny right here.
It's so good.
I fucking love that.
I am an expert swordman, Ultramarine, Zadkiel told him, goading his opponent carefully. As martially skilled as any of the sons of Gilliman, you will not best me.
You will not best me.
Enough
this
words,
is where your words
Cestus
end.
Act.
This is where your words end.
So
I love
good.
it. Yeah, great final action movie one-liners. Great fight. Cestus takes a mortal wound, but takes Zadkiel's hand and then his head, and then the ship blows up. The end.
Yeah. Will alone could change the universe. That was what made a mere man into an Ultramarine.
And everyone dies. Everyone but Cor Ferron in this book dies.
So good.
Yeah, it's good. And again, I think the fact that these characters can be disposed of is what makes them interesting. And it really highlights the flaws, like the inherent flaw in having a bunch of characters in all the other books that every reader going into it who's a Warhammer fan already knows this guy's going to live for at least another 10,000 years.
Well,
so like
in the case
the
of
stakes
Abaddon,
are gone.
In the case of Abaddon, it just doesn't really characterize Abaddon that much in the first 3 books.
No. We get very little, and honestly, Abaddon doesn't start becoming an interesting character until the very, 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 very end of the series. And even then, he doesn't actually become a cool villain until Dembski Bowden does his thing with him in the 40K books.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, like, it's one of the great jokes in the Warhammer community is that Abaddon is an absolute, like, dork supervillain failure. Like, until recent lore, he was just like the constantly scheming and I'll get you next time, Imperials.
Megatron.
In 40K. And now he's become more of a serious real guy with like some cool moments. But yeah, you're right. I mean, most of the bad guys that we've seen so far and characters we know will live for thousands of years really are just not that interesting.
Lucius
they're
can
not...
sometimes hit this point too, where he just didn't have much characterization until like he just kind of changes randomly, like in between books.
Which is such a bummer. Like, if this is going to be a man who lives for tens of thousands of years and becomes one of the most well-known supervillains in the entire universe, how could they botch that fall so badly?
Ask
with
George Lucas.
With all of these characters. Yeah, no, you're right. I
think this is just something that's hard, right? Maybe that's something we have to consider.
You know what?
Maybe it's just
that's
fucking hard
fair.
to do.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not like I've written a novel, so whatever. I'm just a critic, but I do know better than these people. So I'm gonna say it anyway.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Something that is interesting, as we have gotten into finish the 8th book of the Horus Heresy. Horus really isn't in these books, huh?
No, he really isn't.
It's kind of funny.
He's in more of the later books, like Vengeful Spirit. He's a pretty important character, but like, he's really just like he's an object, He's a prop. He's a prop more than anything.
Yeah, I really am surprised by how little he's in these books that we have read.
Yeah.
Even the books he's in, he's not in them like that much all the time. Like,
no, he's almost never the focus, really. Even in fucking Horus Rising.
Yeah,
like,
it's Loken. It's about Loken.
It's a story about Loken, yeah. Which is, fine, but
It's fine.
It's weird. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that was the thing that really got me.
Yeah. And it's honestly, I think they might, I don't know if they recognize this later in the series, because he gets, even when he's in the later books, like, he's largely sidelined, like, as a character acting. And in a few interesting ways. I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, obviously he's a big time mega player in the end time, or the Siege of Terra. But even then, again, he's kind of just a prop. He's a thing that everything pivots around, but he's not doing much. But this book rules.
Yeah, very happy.
This one was a great read. Yeah.
Is there any other points we want to hit on Battle for the Abyss?
I just would, I mean, if it's not clear enough, I highly recommend this read. This is a great, and since it's pretty self-contained, you could start here if you wanted, or you could just read this, if you're feeling like tasting some of the Warhammer novels, and particularly the Horus Heresy, you could easily read this by itself, and it's a great read. And those of you who have read the Horus Heresy, or read it the way that most of us do, most of us Warhammer fans, where we just kind of read the books we're told to read, or we read the ones from the Legions we're interested in, and read summaries for the rest. Try this. If you've heard this is bad and not worth your time because all the characters die and the ship blows up, fuck that. Read this book. It's a good one.
Yeah. Something I do want to point out that I've noticed in all these books, they don't like to do any falling action at all.
No.
There is just it just is climax and then book over.
Yeah, there's some falling action in Descent of Angels, maybe, but in the rest of these, no, it's climax done.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, actually. Especially this one.
Is.
This one is the most that, right? Because it ends on the Furious Abyss blowing up after Cestus' big duel.
Yeah, truly, it is just like, boom, done.
Not that it's like
Nothing.
a bad
Yep,
thing, but I think it's an interesting thing that happens.
It is interesting. I don't know necessarily what it means, but I feel you that this is a unique characteristic of the series so far.
Yeah, maybe it's because like there's the other books coming out.
I think that's my estimation, is like each of these guys is given a chunk of story that they're allowed to tell,
Yeah.
And I'm sure each of them, the chunk that they were allowed to tell does end on a climax. Whoever's outlining this for them is like, okay, so then the Furious Abyss blows up, and we cannot talk about anything else that happens in Ultramar because that's for the Calth books.
Right,
so
that's for the next book.
Shut up.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
So shut up. Yeah. Are we ready for the back of the book for Mechanicus?
Yeah. Mechanicum.
Mechanicum, yes.
War Comes to Mars by Graham McNeil. As the flames of treachery spread throughout the Imperium, Horus plots to subvert or destroy all those who would stand against him. On Mars, homeworld of the Mechanicum priesthood, the great manufactory cities have long produced much of the weaponry required for the expeditionary fleets across the galaxy, making the world invaluable to whoever controls it in the coming war. Now, the War Master's agents begin to stoke the fires of rebellion, turning the loyalist forges and the mighty Titan legions against one another. And, with whispers spreading of an ancient terror lurking beneath the red planet's surface, the dark Mechanicum rises.
Nice. Another McNeely.
Another
always,
McNeely.
Always interesting.
This cover has a tech priest with a whole bunch of fire going on.
I think it's the most boring cover we've seen yet, except for maybe Horus Rising. It's just a guy.
Yeah.
It's just a robed guy.
Right. And it's not weird in a way that makes me go, what the fuck is happening, like in Descent of Angels?
Yeah. Hey, we didn't talk about the cover of A Battle for the Abyss at all.
No, we didn't.
What the heck?
What the heck?
it's just dudes fighting.
But it's also really colorful in a way none of them have been.
It is. Yeah, we get some contrast. We get some reds and blues and
Cathedral windows.
Cathedral windows, big sparky sparks. Yes, it's not bad.
Yeah,
this is a not bad cover.
There's a Space Marine holding a giant ass sword.
Yeah, pretty clearly Cestus, I think.
Well, I assume Cestus. Oh, Cestus holding a
Cestus or
sword?
Antigues. Well, so is it a power sword or is it a chain sword? I'm not looking at the cover right now. Okay, if it's a chain sword, it's Antigues.
No, I'm pretty sure the guy in blue, the blonde hair, is Cestus because he's holding a bolter pistol, which is Cestus's like signature.
Yeah, but so Antigues does that too, and Cestus never uses a chain sword in a battle against word bearers. He always uses his power sword.
Yeah.
So it's got to be Antigues or just a nameless Ultramarine, which we know these covers love to just show nameless guys.
Yeah.
So
who knows? There's a red Ultramarine dying from a wound. It's a sick cover.
Yeah, it's a good cover. Mechanicum. Here we come. Book 9. Another one I haven't read yet. So another first time read for me.
I started it today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm, interested in what it's doing.
Okay.
I will say, adding some Emperor facts to my list.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense if we're on Mars. Yeah, I really don't know anything about this book at all.
Yeah.
But again, it's Graham McNeil. Always interesting.
Always interesting.
Always interesting. Yeah.
Anything you want to plug or promote or shout out?
War fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Our government has allowed it, and I need everyone to remember that the Democrats are down for it. Enough of them are down for it that it doesn't fucking matter. Our government is completely complicit in hideous war crimes taking place right now.
Yeah.
It's real bad out there.
Yeah, the U.S. is not only the aggressor, but just like a rabid dog that's killing children for no reason besides greed and perceived power.
And those of you who understand geopolitics should understand we're fucked. There is no good way out of this war. This is only going to end badly for literally fucking everyone. This is the most real chance at nuclear conflict we have ever seen in our lifetimes.
And even if that doesn't happen, the thing is, there's a lot of thought that this is going to go easier than Iraq or Afghanistan when Iran is so much more organized and powerful.
So much more organized, so much more prepared, so much more geographically difficult to approach. So successful in their strategy so far, because if you don't know, all of the Gulf states live in completely unsustainable places to live. They import virtually all of their food. They import virtually all of their water. And the Iranians are systematically targeting their desalination plants and the travel ways to get to those places in those cities. And nobody wants to live there anymore. No one's going to want to ship things there anymore. And guys, we need to remember, why is America dominant in the world? It's because of the fucking petrodollar. We can only trade in American dollars to buy oil. These countries are not going to accept that deal anymore now that they recognize the American army and military is not actually capable of defending them, because we've proven we're not. They are getting their shit fucking wrecked. Dubai is getting fucking wrecked. No one from these countries is going to invest in our country anymore. A huge portion of our stock market, which is not a representation of the people, but a huge portion of this nation's wealth, the money coming into this nation, comes from those countries. And again, the only reason the dollar is worth anything on the global market is because it's the only currency you can buy petroleum with. That deal isn't going to last forever in this world we've now created for ourselves.
And it shouldn't. It quite frankly shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't. But I think people need to think about how bad things are going to get for American citizens. And of course, we can't forget the thousands of innocent people, women and children and non-combatants, who are being butchered by our taxpayer dollars.
Well, I'll even
We
say
are
it doesn't
paying
matter if
for
they're
this.
combatants either. Like, we're just killing people. Like, we're just killing indiscriminately.
Absolutely. All of this is war crimes. All of this is wrong. All war is a crime. I just really want to emphasize the thousands of innocent people who are being exploded. The children we are intentionally targeting
With AI.
and double tapping.
Yeah, and the AI
confirmed
systems that are like
by our government.
yeah,
Yes.
that are producing these kill lists, which miserable.
Yes.
Miserable.
Eh,
This is how you get a 40K, right?
This is, and the fact that I mean, there have been hundreds of reports that our military leaders are telling the troops this is literally Armageddon.
Yeah.
We are calling Christ back to earth with this war. I mean, guys, that's bad.
Yeah, this is
We're
what happens
fucked.
when you have
This
an
is-
alcoholic run to the Department of War.
This is really bad. And it's not just because he's an alcoholic. It's because every advisor, supplier, and supporter of the president at a high level with any influence is an evangelical psychopath.
Oh, yeah.
And
I highly
this
recommend the podcast Ill Conceive about these evangelicals and also what they how this also connects to birth rates.
God damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dire. It's dire.
Fuck the U.S. Fuck Israel. Fuck this war. Fuck any nation that joins us in this war. And
The only moral stance of this war is being pro-Iranian. That's just like fundamentally it.
fucking facts. Any nation that backs Iran is a hero. It doesn't matter how repressive that government is. This is wrong.
Yeah.
This is wrong. And we have to say that. If it hasn't been clear, fans, listeners, that is the perspective we have, and it's the one you should.
Yeah. And like, you know, this is what we bring into when we're also reading these books. Like, this is like,
Yes.
yeah, like Warhammer's about war. Like, it's in the name. And it's imperative on us to think about war because like as you were saying, Uncle, yes, like most wars are bad, but the war Iran is waging against the U.S. isn't. You know what I mean?
No, it's heroic. Their strategy to target the Gulf states is brilliant. If they overthrow our empire, it'll suck for us, and it'll be the best thing to have happened in world history.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. The fall of the U.S. is would be
Inevitable
the most
and necessary.
I wouldn't say inevitable. This is the thing where I'm pessimistic.
No, it's inevitable. No empire lasts, Faden.
I guess that's
no
true.
empire lasts. No, none has, and
Yeah, I guess that's
this
true.
will end. It's going to end, and maybe it's going to end in our lifetimes. Maybe soon.
That would be something.
I hope dearly and strive for a world in which we can restrict the violence as much as is necessary and limit it to those most deserving. But I would be a fool to lie to you and deny the necessity of violence against an imperial power this almighty and omnipotent as our hideous, disgusting war machine.
Yeah. There's like, yeah. What can you say to that? Protest this war. Like, if you can, be against it, speak out against it. You know, it might, as someone who's like looks at things like, I don't know what that really does because we live in an insane country by two parties who are insane. But you know, don't be
silent.
Don't go with the flow.
Yeah. Indifference is support. Indifference is support. Silence is violence.
Even if it's just like mild, like, you just say people like, yeah, I think it's fucked what we're doing. Like, just telling people that is important enough because a lot of people don't hear that perspective. Though, let's be fair.
Or they don't hear it spoken.
Yeah.
I think most people feel it.
Yeah, I think
I
everyone's against
think
this, really.
Everyone's against this.
Except for
no
the
one
sickos.
likes this. Except for the sickos and psychos, and I don't know how we can reach them anyway.
Yeah,
so
that's like only 20. With the thing we got to remember, that's only like 25% of this population, really, too, is the sickos and psychos.
And frankly, who knows if it's even that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so many people in that sphere are literally, factually, actually afraid for their lives because of the people more powerful than them in their lives who make them have these opinions.
Yep.
Like, fuck the patriarchy, fuck evangelicalism, fuck the United States, love your brothers and sisters and siblings in the world, love your neighbor, be good to all of the people in your life as best you can, support each other, love each other, tell each other how you really feel about this. I think enough of us care and give enough of a fuck that if we wanted to do something, we could stop it. I think we can stop this. And the innocent people in the world who are suffering right now deserve us trying. So do something. And
don't be a word bearer.
thank you for listening. Yeah, don't be a word bearer, motherfucker.
Also, to get
be a decent human being.
To get a non-serious plug-in right after that,
Yeah.
you can follow me on Blue Sky. Look for Faden Cross. I have a Yoshi in my profile picture. Also, listen to our Game Club podcast.
Yeah, Club Flashpoint. This is the year of spooky spooks.
Yeah, we just did Pyre.
Just did Pyre. We're very scary. Basketball. What could be more horrifying than that?
Playing Darkwood the month this comes
We actually
out.
are playing a real scary game. We're Darkwood's pretty spook.
Yeah.
Come listen to us. We have fun. We talk about games.
And we talked
might
about
like
Rogue
it.
Trader.
Yeah, we did that. And we talked about Mechanicus, and we talked about Battlefleet Gothic. So, you know what, Warhammer fans, you got samples to try from our selection. Maybe you'll like the whole buffet. Give it a taste.
Yeah. Stay safe.
I love you. Yeah. Be good.
Be good.